Sometimes in this life, pride will carry a person to the top of an iroko tree, but shame will drag them down faster than a falling coconut. That day, the sun was shining bright over Lagos, but the tension in the air at Echo Continental Hotel was hotter than the weather itself. It was the company's big annual gala, the kind of event where billionaires gather to show off their wealth and small upcoming managers wore borrowed suits just to network and make connections. Before we go on, I would like to kindly ask that you please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and drop a nice comment. It would mean so much to me. Now, back to the story. Everybody came looking sharp: lace, tuxedos, ashoke, sequences that could blind your eye if the lights touched them the wrong way. You know, Nigerians now, we don't play when it comes to packaging. But in the middle of all this glitter, one woman stood out, not because she was the finest, though, no, not because she was even the richest either. Her name was Madame Patricia, and if arrogance could be bottled up, she was walking around with a whole factory. She was the kind of woman that talked as if everyone around her was her housemate. Ah, this woman could look at you from head to toe and finish your destiny with just one hiss. You know those kinds now. Now, Patricia was not even the CEO. She wasn't even part of the board. She was just a mid level manager who believed that because she once shook hands with an investor in Dubai, she was now untouchable. That evening, as waiters moved about with trays and champagnes with small chops, Patricia spotted a young woman standing quietly in a corner. That lady was dressed simply, just a plain black gown, no jewelry, no makeup, no frontal, just something very simple, no attention. She wasn't mingling, she wasn't smiling, just standing and observing. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Look at this nonsense, she muttered under her breath. Cleaner inside gala night? These people don't know boundaries again. Madame Patricia marched across the room with the kind of confidence that only foolishness can give somebody, I swear. Hey, you! Patricia snapped her fingers like she was calling a dog. Come here. Didn't they tell you this place is for staff only? Go to the back and wash plates or sweep something. You're embarrassing the company. The young woman turned slowly. My people, the kind of eyes she had, calm, deep, almost dangerous. But she didn't say a word. She just kept staring at Patricia. Patricia, feeling bold from the champagne she had been taking all night, grew louder. Are you deaf? I'm talking to you. Oh, yeah, move. When the young woman still didn't move, Patricia's temper boiled more and more. In front of all the guests, she raised her hand and bam! A hot slap landed on the girl's cheek. The entire hall froze. The band stopped playing. You could hear a pin drop in the silence. Someone gasped. Jesus! Another whispered. Ah! Patricia don't buy market today, oh. But Patricia was still ranting. Useless girl! Do you know who I am? How dare you stand there like you own the place? And then, with the calmness of someone who had nothing to prove, the young woman finally spoke. Her voice was low, firm, almost chilling. Actually, Madam Patricia, I do own the place. Patricia blinked. What rubbish are you talking? You, cleaner, own this place? I beg, don't make me laugh. At that moment, one of the directors rushed forward, his face white like someone who just saw a ghost. He bowed slightly to the young woman. Ah, Madame Adana, please forgive us. We didn't know you had arrived. The entire hall erupted in whispers. Adana, as in Adana Okonkwo, the CEO, the billionaire herself. Patricia staggered back. No, no, this is not possible. But it was. The so called cleaner she just slapped was none other than Adana Okonkwo, the youngest female billionaire CEO in Nigeria, and the very owner of the multinational company Patricia worked for. Can you imagine? Ah, my people. See as the whole hall turned upside down. You can almost taste the silence. People were whispering left and right, hiding their mouths, but still peeping at Patricia like she had grown horns. Patricia's hands was still hanging in the air, the same hand she had used to land the hot slap. But now, that hand was shaking. She looked at the young woman again, looked at the directors bowing and whispering, and then back at the crowd who had already pulled out their phones to make videos and take pictures. Her voice cracked. "Oh, wait, you mean you mean this girl is the CEO?" Someone from the back shouted. Girl, care. That's the owner of the whole company, madam. You don't enter. Oh. Patricia's knees almost gave way. If not for the high heels she was balancing on, she would have dropped straight to the middle of the floor. But Adana, that woman was calm. Calm like river water, but dangerous like crocodile hiding inside. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't even slap her back. She just looked at Patricia with that same cold stare. And then she quietly asked, "Tell me, Madam Patricia, when you look at me, what did you see? A cleaner? A house girl? Someone not worthy of respect?" Patricia opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. No sound came out. Adana smiled. But it wasn't a sweet smile. It was that kind of smile that can make your heart beat faster than it was already beating. "You will understand today," she said softly. "In my company, we value people, not positions. But you," she shook her head slowly, "you have shown me exactly who you are." The guests started muttering loudly. One old man adjusted his glasses. "This Patricia has finally finished herself. Imagine slapping your oga, your CEO, in front of the whole Lagos High Society." Even the waiters were peeping from behind the curtains, shaking their head. Small chops forgotten, the drinks forgotten, the kind of drama you don't see every day. This kind if it happened and you didn't come to work that day, sorry for you. Oh." Patricia tried to cover herself. "M- Madam Adana, please, please, it was a mistake. I didn't know. I thought you thought I was beneath you, right?" Adana cut her in, her voice sharper now. Patricia nodded quickly, sweat forming on her forehead, despite the AC blasting in the hall. "Yes, yes. I mean, no, I didn't mean. I wasn't talking to." Adana raised her hand, and Patricia went silent. "Enough," she said. Then she turned to the directors and senior managers, watching closely. "Tomorrow morning, I want Patricia's records on my desk. Every single report, every project, every file she has handled. I want to see everything she has been doing in this company." Yes, ma'am," one of them stammered. "Now, people, let me tell you the truth. Patricia's life was flashing before her very own eyes. All the office politics, the gossip, the way she had been stepping on people's necks in that company, everything was about to catch up with her. But that was not even the worst part. The worst part was still coming. Because at that very moment, as Patricia stood frozen, Adana's father walked into the hall. Chief Okonkwo himself, the lion of Anambra State, the man whose handshake could change destinies, the one who built the entire empire before handing it over to his daughter. That kind of man that if he just tells you, "Go there and tell them you are from me," is stronger than any CV that you can even bring. The crowd parted like a red sea. Chief Okonkwo stepped in, tall, regal, his entire traditional attire flowing like royalty. "What is going on here?" His deep voice boomed. Patricia almost fainted. Chief, sir, I can explain." Adana turned to him and bowed silently. "Papa, good evening. Nothing serious, just one of our managers. She mistook me for a cleaner." The crowd gasped again. Patricia's mouth opened wide, but words refused to come out. Chief Okonkwo's face darkened. He turned slowly towards Patricia. "You slapped my daughter?" Patricia stammered. "Chief, I didn't know. I swear, if I had known." Chief raised his hand. "That is the problem. You didn't know, and so what? If she was the cleaner, does that give you the right to slap her?" Uh, I. Patricia's lips trembled. The chief's voice thundered across the hall. "Respect is not about who somebody is. Respect is about who you are." The entire hall erupted in applause. Some people nodded. Some shouted, "Yes, sir. Correct." But Patricia, her legs were shaking like a generator we no get fuel. Hmm. Patricia thought the slap would just end in that hall. She didn't know the world she was living in. These days, before your shame even settles on your skin, it has already gone viral on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and even your everybody's WhatsApp status. That night, the moment her hand touched Adana's cheek, snap, 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 phones were already recording different angles, different layers. Some people even went live. So while Patricia was still sweating inside the gala, outside on the streets of Lagos, people were already commenting. Who be this woman wey slap Adanna Okonkwo? She won't die. Now wow, how person go just use pride anyhow like this? Cancel her, fire her. We no wan see this kind behavior in 2025. By the time the gala ended, Patricia's name was trending number one in Nigeria. Slapgate. But let me carry you back inside the hall. After Chief Okonkwo's thunderous words, the entire band tried to start playing again to cover up the tension. The music band. But the gist had already spoiled the whole event. People were no longer interested in networking or business proposals. They just wanted to whisper about Patricia. One lady in gold lace leaned over to her friend. I've been telling you, this Patricia woman has no respect. Even in the office, she talks down on junior staff. See now, God has finally exposed her. Another man in Agbada shook his head. Ah, but to slap Adana of all people. This is spiritual blindness, oh. Her village people has finally gotten up with her. Patricia wanted to melt into the floor. She kept trying to move closer to Adana, to beg, but security already positioned themselves beside them. Imagine, yesterday she was shouting at people. Today, she couldn't even go near the CEO. Adana didn't shout. She didn't embarrass herself further. She simply turned and walked out of the hall, her father following behind her like a lion guarding its cub. That simple walk, the calmness of it, was louder than 10,000 insults. By the time Patricia got home that night, her phone was buzzing non-stop. Her WhatsApp messages were full, missed calls, Twitter notifications, even her church group chat self had already dropped her matter for prayers. She collapsed on her bed and opened her phone. The first thing she saw was an image of her very self, with her hand frozen mid-air, captured in slow motion, trending with the caption, "When you slap your destiny helper." Patricia screamed and threw the phone away. But running away didn't help. Her neighbors had seen it. Her cousins abroad had seen it. Even her old secondary school classmates had tagged her on Facebook writing, "So this is where your shakara ended you." By morning, things got worse. She rushed to the office before 8 a.m., hoping to explain herself. But as she entered the lobby, every head turned. People quickly faced their computers. But you know how eyes can talk. Patricia hissed and stormed to her office. But before she could even sit, HR had called her in. Madam Patricia, the HR director finally said, the CEO has requested your full employment file. Please hand over your access card and company laptop for now. You will work from home until further notice. Work from home? Patricia shouted. How can you say that? Do you know who I am in this company? The HR director didn't even blink. Yes, madam. We all know exactly who you are. And so does the internet now. Patricia's mouth fell open. But she had no choice. She dropped her access card on the table. The sound of it echoed in her ears like a death sentence. Meanwhile, Adana was at home, sipping tea like nothing happened. To her, Patricia was not even the story. The story was about how pride can destroy a person in seconds. She told her PA, if she had spoken to me with just a little respect, this would have never happened. But sometimes life must teach people in public what they refuse to learn in private. The PA nodded. Yes, ma. And the lesson is loud and clear. But my people, let me tell you. Do you think Patricia learned? No. Shame was fighting her, but pride was still whispering in her ear. That evening, instead of lying low, she called one of her friends and said, I will not accept this. Do they think they can just embarrass me like that? I will fight back. Her friend begged her, Ah, Patricia, calm down. Don't add petrol to the fire. Just apologize. But Patricia hissed, Me? Apologize? To who? To that small girl? Never. And that, my people, was the beginning of her very end. By the next week, Patricia's face was everywhere. TV stations picked up the story. Blogs were writing headlines like Manager slaps her CEO at Lagos Gala Night. When pride turns to pepper soup, Patricia versus Adana. Who hired this woman? And the comments, they were like hot pepper in Patricia's skin. Serves her right. Wicked woman. I've worked under her before. She used to insult everybody. This one no get respect though. Sack her immediately. Patricia couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard the slap again. Bam! only this time it was her own dignity that was ringing in her ear. In the office, it was like vultures had smelled blood. All the people she had oppressed before, junior staff, interns, even drivers, suddenly found boldness. Ah, Madam Patricia, good morning, no. One cleaner greeted her sweetly, but with that mocking smile. She snapped, "What are you smiling at?" The man replied calmly, "Nothing, no. Just happy that in this life, tables can turn." Even her fellow managers started avoiding her. Meetings were held without her. Emails stopped coming. One by one, the walls closed in. Then came the bombshell. One Tuesday morning, she received an official letter. Her heart pounded as she tore it open. Dear Madam Patricia, following recent events and a thorough review of your record, the management has decided to suspend you indefinitely pending further investigation. Patricia screamed. Suspension? Me? After everything I've done for this company? But when she read further, her blood ran cold. The letter listed incidents of misconduct, verbal abuse, intimidation of staff, misuse of company resources. Ah, people had reported her secretly for years. And now that the door was open, all the complaints came pouring in like flood. That evening, she stormed into the boardroom without invitation, desperate to speak to Adana, but security blocked her. Please, I just need 5 minutes, she begged. The guard shook his head. Madam, instruction from the top. You are not allowed inside. Her knees buckled. Just a week ago, she was walking through these halls like she owned them. Now, she couldn't even pass the door. Meanwhile, inside the boardroom, Adana was calm as always. She listened to the reports, nodded slowly, then finally said, "Let her stay suspended. But don't fire her yet." The directors exchanged glances. "But, madam, she slapped you in public. The world is expecting us to fire her. Why keep her?" Adana leaned back in her chair. "Because firing is too easy. Suspension is worse. Let her sit with her shame. Let her taste what it feels like to lose everything she thought that gave her power." The directors nodded reluctantly. "As you wish." Hmm. Patricia's things couldn't get worse, but life had not finished with her yet. 2 weeks later, a video resurfaced online. It was a footage from 3 years ago, showing Patricia screaming at a young intern, tearing her project paper to shreds, and calling her stupid. Guess who that intern was? Adana. Yes, so before she became CEO, she had secretly joined the company as a junior intern, just to understand the system from the bottom to the top. And Patricia had been one of the loudest mouths that tormented her. Now the internet was on fire again. Ah, so Patricia had been wicked from time immemorial. No wonder she slapped her boss. It's in her blood. God of poetic justice, we hail thee, O. Patricia locked herself inside her apartment for days. She refused to pick calls. Food lost its state. She had no appetite. Even her best friend stopped visiting, afraid of being dragged into the shame. And then came the final blow. Her landlord knocked on her door. "Madam, please, your rent is due. Oh. You've not paid." Patricia laughed bitterly. "Where do you want me to see money? They've suspended me. My accounts are frozen." The landlord shrugged. "Then you have to move, oh, madam. I can't run a charity." Patricia's knees gave way. The mighty manager reduced to begging for rent. But here is where the twist comes in. One rainy evening, as Patricia sat on the back of her room, crying, her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it, but then she saw the name, Adana Okonkwo. Her heart nearly stopped, hand shaking. She picked it. "Hello?" she whispered. Adana's voice was calm as always. "Patricia, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., my office." Click, the line went dead. Patricia didn't sleep that night. She cursed, she turned, she prayed, begged God for mercy. By morning, she wore her best clothes, the same ones she had once used to intimidate others, and dragged herself to the office. When she entered Adana's office, the billionaire CEO was sitting by the window, sipping tea. She couldn't even look up. "Sit," Patricia sat, trembling. For a long time, silence filled the entire room. Only the ticking of the clock. Then Adana finally turned. Do you remember me? She asked. Patricia nodded, eyes wet. Yes, you were that intern. I I didn't know. Adana's eyes pierced her soul. You didn't know then. You didn't know at the gala. You didn't know because you never cared to know. All you saw was status. All you respected was power. How expensive a person appeared. How expensive their outfits and appearance looked. And that is why life has humbled you. Patricia broke down in tears. Please, forgive me, eh? Give me one more chance. I will change. Please. I'm an old woman, no. Adana was silent for a while. Then she said, forgiveness is not for me to give. Forgiveness is something you must earn by changing who you are. You will not get your position back. But I will give you a job. A new one. Patricia looked up hopefully. Anything, madam, please. I am owing so much money. I am back on my rent. I need money, please. Anything. Adana's lips curved into a faint smile. Good. Report to the janitorial department tomorrow. You will start as a cleaner. The room went silent. Patricia's face turned dead. She gasped. Cleaner? Me? After all my years, Adana cut her off. Yes, cleaner. If you can learn to respect people from the bottom, maybe one day you will understand what leadership truly means. That is how Patricia's pride cracked that very day. She wanted to refuse, she wanted to scream, but she knew her destiny had cornered her. She nodded slowly, tears streaming down. She had no other choice. And that was how the woman who once slapped her CEO ended up sweeping the company's floors. Patricia started her new life as a cleaner the next morning. The uniform felt heavy on her shoulders. The mop in her hand felt like a punishment. And the whispers from her former colleagues cut deep than a knife. Ah, see our former madam. Oh. Now she's cleaning toilets. Is God not wonderful? He can truly humble anybody, no matter who you are. At first, Patricia hated it. Every stroke of the mop reminded her of her lost glory. Which kind of grass to grace or grace to grass story is this one? But slowly, something began to change. She started noticing people she had ignored before. The security man who always smiled despite standing long hours under the sun. The kitchen staff who served food patiently, even when people complained. The cleaners who sang quietly as they worked, finding joy in the little things. For the first time in her life, Patricia understood what it meant to see people, not just their status. Weeks passed and turned into months. And though the shame never fully disappeared, Patricia became softer. She greeted people warmly, she apologized when she made mistakes, she even offered advice to younger staff, not with arrogance this time, but with genuine care. One afternoon, Adana walked through the office. She stopped when she saw Patricia on her knees, scrubbing the floor with quiet determination. Adana quietly watched for a while, then finally said, maybe there's hope for you after all. Patricia looked up, breathing heavily, sweat on her forehead. But instead of shame, her eyes carried something new humility. Thank you, she whispered, for not throwing me away completely. Adana gave a small nod and walked on. For the first time, Patricia felt safe. She felt peace. And so, that was how Patricia, once feared, once proud, became a living lesson of humanity. The slap she gave that night was not just on her CEO's cheek, it was on her own destiny. But life, in its mysterious ways, turned that slap into a mirror, showing her who she truly was. The moral of the story: in this life, never look down on anybody. The person you despise today may be the same person who holds your future tomorrow. Pride can lift you high, but humility will keep you standing. So, let us learn. Respect everybody, whether cleaner or CEO, because tables can definitely turn. And when they turn, they can scatter your entire world.